There was a conversation in Purdue circles over the weekend that I took part in with friend of the program, Craig Bowers. It's been far too long since we've had a shout out for the Boilers in the Stands guys on this show. And I finally was able to have a conversation with Craig. We were talking offline a little bit this weekend. So, Craig Bowers, shout out to you. Hat tip to you, my friend. It was good to reconnect a little bit. But, anyways, I want to read a tweet from Craig over the weekend and I want to discuss what we think it means. He was talking about what he has seen from watching four practices about the shooting guard spot. This is Craig's tweet word for word. Quote, after watching four practices this summer and fall, I can honestly say I have very little inclination as to who will win out at either spot, and I don't know that it matters. All four guards vying for the final starting spot have looked really good. All four bring a little something different. I think it will boil down to which of the four best complement Braden and Fletcher. And yes, I said of the four. The obvious implication here from Craig that Antoine West is heavily involved. Anytime we have teed up this conversation in the past or even the present this summer, we've discussed it as a three-man race for who starts in between them, between Jakari Harris, CJ Cox, and Omar Meyer. Craig Bowers, who is someone I really respect and love and just believe in the work of, think he's always on the money with Purdue, says, to be very clear, it's four guards competing for the final starting spot at shooting guard. Now, little behind the scenes here, Cart. When I saw this tweet, I was headed to a pumpkin patch. Okay. I was right on my way. I had donuts and cider on the mind. And I said, you know what? I just want to respond. It's been too long since me and my buddy Craig have gone back and forth. So I responded and basically was just like, okay, question. Doesn't this have to be taken as at least a minor indictment of Cox and Harris? Like, I just don't understand. Even if Antoine West is good, I buy him long term. To me, if he's seriously in the mix for a starting spot, it can't be true what Newert's been reporting that Harris is so improved and he's a breakout star. It can't be true that Cox is some new player because we saw Cox last year. Cox was good. If Cox is better than he was last year, Antoine West isn't in the mix to start over him. So, like, I don't even think this is like a hot take from me. It's not. Like, if Harris and Cox have gotten better, we're not talking about the three-star freshman possibly starting at shooting guard. We're just not. And I kind of wanted Craig to almost say that. And instead, Craig and I ended up having a really good conversation. He responded and laid out very nicely that, like, West just does some things differently than some of the guys he's battling with that are valuable to this team. It's not better. This is not a conversation of who's better. It's about fit. And we know Painter likes to operate that way. I do fully believe this quote unquote starter at the two is going to be about fit more than anything else. So, anyways, I think I've teed this up as best I can. Like I said, Craig and I talked offline a good amount on Saturday, and it was just good to talk Purdue hoops again with Craig Bowers. So go follow Boilers in the Stands and all the things Craig Bowers and Joe Jackson are working on. I digress. Do you buy that there are four guards in the mix for a starting spot at the two, and that Antoine West is in that mix?
I don't only for this reason, because I think that there is something that Harris and Cox and those guys who have been in the program and who are being told by people in the gym that those guys are improving. I think that Antoine West would have to do something pretty incredible to be thrusted into that spot. And I was able to see your and Craig's conversation about this, which did shed some light on it. I mean, the most confusing part to me was the shift between this guy could possibly start to the situation that this guy could redshirt. That was the situation that had me was like, that's interesting. If he's good enough to start, going from starting to redshirting is just a very, very massive leap, in my opinion. Um, but I think that it would, and everything coming out of this summer too. I do think that like in the future, Purdue has something with Antoine West. I just didn't think that given who is in the running for that spot, whether it's Harris, Cox, Omer, whoever's in that spot, that Antoine West would, I think he'd have to do something spectacular to kind of be the starter in that spot, or it would be indictment of the other three that I just spoke on with Harris, Cox, and Meyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I want to go down this path. And again, part of, I think, my shading on this has swung a little bit from the
Can I say one
conversations with
last
friends.
big picture thing associated with this too?
Of course.
Everyone cannot play a major role on this team.
Yep.
It can't be everyone. Like
Yep.
there and it's not just because of like I get it, the depth is something that this team has. They do have options.
Yep.
But at the same time, are those options coming at the expense of what I already have? And like if everything goes the way it should go, starters play starter minutes. You have your role guys, and that's the way it should be. Not everyone is going to play a major role. And I'm just the thing that just I can't get with, I can't let go is that everything coming out right now is about every single guy being so amazing and playing a major role.
Right.
It's not possible.
Right. That's not how basketball works. So I do think I solved it though. Because to your point, like you can't have minutes for everybody. I think I solved it. This is what I think Purdue fans think the rotation will be this year, and I think it works, Card. I think at point guard you play Braden 35 minutes, and then you have Omer back him up for 25 minutes at point guard. And then at shooting guard you play Harris 20, Cox 20, West 20, and then Jack Benter 10. And then I think at small forward Lawyer gets 30, Benter 20. And then at power forward TKR 35, and then Benter 20, and then Murphy 10. And then at center, Clough 25, Jacobson 25, probably a little small ball Benter 10 at the five. So you add it all up, I think it's roughly like 600 minutes, and Benter's playing 60 across four positions, and I think everybody's happy.
Is that possible?
Of course not,
Oh,
but that's our point here. Is and I look, I don't think it's just Purdue, but there is something intrinsically unique from the conversations that I've had with Purdue fans I respect where they just can't draw the line for the end of the rotation. And this has been a multi-year theme, right? It just there's something about that fan base that just eats it up. They want to believe their 13th, 14th guys are as good as their sixth guys. Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
Mm, That's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara Kate Creations. Clara Kate Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girl sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that. But honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy, love his wife, love Claire Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more. And I that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But it's not all that realistic. And I think that's where you and I have tried to come in, especially because, like, look, this isn't last year. This isn't like a top 15 team in the country. This is the best team in the country. When you are the best team in the country, you don't play everyone. You just don't. You don't have 4 guys at every position that are all in the mix to actually play. And look, we're close enough to the season that thank God we're going to get some answers and we can kind of stop the Brian Waddell had a great summer. He might play on the wing. Like it's just not. There's always a couple guys that don't. Now, no one wants to come out on record and say who those guys are. I would point out this. I feel a little bit differently about this than I did when I responded to Craig's tweet. And I think that's shaded from conversations I've had with Craig that are really good basketball conversations. So I can speak to just kind of my updated perspective in a moment on this. But um, I think the important thing here as we approach the season, and this is my last personal conjecture on this, if everyone that has seen Purdue practice can't agree on who's emerging between Braden and Fletcher, probably means that no one's emerging. Is that fair to say?
That's fair. I mean, that's fair to say. It's like it's the classic like we can't determine who the five starters is. That might not be a oh you're so talented issue. It might be a well that's not a good thing. If your team is good, you should be able to identify who the five best players are.
And I think it's being positioned, and I'm not saying this is for narrative purposes, because again, I really trust a lot of the people involved here that are kind of giving out intel on this, especially Craig. I trust Craig's eye for basketball a lot. Um, but I think it's kind of being packaged together. Like Craig's original tweet, even I read it word for word. There's four guys that might start here. It doesn't matter who it is. To me, it I just don't think I agree with that, right? It's not gonna matter because Braden Fletcher and TKR are so good, right? It's not gonna matter who wins that spot because the team's really good.
Mhm.
But to me, if someone isn't definitively winning the spot, that matters. That inherently matters. That means no one has separated. And that would be my, I don't know, personal frustration point with it. And again, a reminder, it is the smart people that can't agree on this. Newbert says it's Jakari. Bartley says it's not Jakari and doesn't buy that breakout and says it should be Cox. The only thing everyone seems to agree on is that it's not Omer for day one of the season. So like just when you've got that many different voices all saying different things, and now Craig's saying it might be West again. I do context clues. My context clues would be none of these guys have emerged. That maybe I'm wrong. That doesn't mean all four of them are great.
Yeah.
It probably means they're not. Because flip this, look at Illinois for a second to do the comp. Look at Illinois. What are we hearing from anyone who gets eyes on Illinois practice right now?
Keaton Wagler.
He's good. There's no debate on it. The players themselves will tell you that. Why?
Mhm.
Because they got a guy, right? If Purdue just had a guy, if one of these four was really emerging, and we thought it would be Omer, right? We thought, and maybe that's hand up, we're wrong. But we thought by now we'd be hearing, well, Omer's just better than these guys.
Right.
And we're not.
And we're not. And that's not good.
It's to me, it's not good. To others, it's who cares? Everyone's good. But anyways, on the flip side, back to West, which was the original point of this. I do buy that West is in the mix more than people would think. And again, part of this is shaded from my conversations with Craig, but he made a good point to me on I think West brings some things that aren't on the roster in a way that CJ and Jakari don't. Like if you actually step back and think about it, the only thing these guards can't do, and I'm talking guards Braden and Fletcher too, only thing on the roster that none of the guards can do is get some rim pressure,
Yeah.
get to the rim and
And
drive.
and just size and athleticism wise, Antoine West is a legit 6'3" with like a didn't he have some crazy wingspan?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, like fit wise, I see that vision. Like I'm in line with Craig on that 100%. It's just what does that also mean for the others is my just
Well,
how does
I,
that work
I
out?
think if the West stuff is real, which again, I believe in Craig's eye for this.
Hmm.
So if West is in the mix, I buy it. I also buy the pitch of what we're like rim pressure, a driver, someone that can get downhill would be big for this team. That's not CJ or Jakari. CJ and Omer want to pull up. Jakari, I think, needs to be off ball guy. Like
Hmm.
West could absolutely be that guy that's like, I can get to the rim. And that is a role for me on this team.
Right.
Um, if that's true, to me, he just takes Jakari's minutes. And
Facts.
that's the thing I don't think anyone wants to hear because it's so opposite of what Newbert's saying. Newbert's saying Jakari's the best guy here.
Yeah.
And to me, it's got to be either Jakari or West for that role. You're not going to play both those guys and Cox and Meyer on this team. Lastly, it to me, tea leaves. It sounds like they're only working Omer at backup point.
Yeah,
And
sound it's
that's why this is such a debate between the other three.
right, which is not like the worst thing. Like I guess I mean, that'd be one of the best backup point guards in the country. It's just I guess we're just kind of looking at it through a lens of let's get our best on the floor, and we can if we want to.
Right. And to be clear, that's not something I heard from Craig. That's my personal view of this. Like the fact that all parties involved are like, yeah, like it's these other three are really in the to me that means Paint's not working Omer at the two at all. I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm right or not on that, but we'll see. I hope I'm not right because I still hope it's Omer that emerges. In the end of the season, fast forward, how many minutes a game? Or actually, no, not how many minutes. Put those four guys in order of minutes per game on Purdue this year
By the end of the season
in March.
in March, Omer, CJ, Antoine, and Jakari.
That's my order too.